This is the Backlog Battle Podcast, episode 215.
Total sausage.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Backlog Battle Podcast. This is Alex.
And this is Daniel.
You played the Yakuza 6 demo at this point.
Yes, I have.
Pretty extensively, right?
No, I did not play it extensively.
No.
In fact, I made it a point not to play extensively because I wanted to preserve when I play the full game. I wanted a taste. That's all I wanted. I got my taste, and I was like, all right, bad Shintai, get back. Don't play anymore. Wait till the full release. That's how I treated it.
Why? I mean, all the progress carries over to the full game.
I understand that, but I also don't want to get super invested in playing the demo a lot, and then once it's fully done, it's like fuck. I didn't want that moment.
I mean,
so
I mean, you'd probably have that moment anyway. But you want to talk about it,
Sure.
Yeah.
So, to everyone who wants to play Yakuza 5, I gotta say this right away. Holy shit, they just spoiled the ending of Yakuza 5 in the demo. I was not expecting that. I mean, it makes sense in the story because, they had to follow up on the ending of Yakuza 5 for 6, so it makes sense. But, again, if you want to play 5, maybe hold off on 6. Even the demo, because again, it just flat out boom, here's the ending, and it's oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I really dug the demo. I really enjoyed it. I did technically play the demo to the end. I got to a point where it says, in the trial version, you cannot proceed any further, and it was telling me that's where I was supposed to go.
Whoops.
So I did reach the end of the demo, and I was
wow.
I put the controller down, and I was like, okay, game. Mm-hmm. I'll just wait for the full release. But yeah, so I was really into it. I really liked it. I have to say, one of the things about the previous Yakuza games is that they always tried to the in-game graphics were never as good as the graphics during cutscenes, and I feel that with Yakuza 6 they finally bridged that gap. So that's one thing that stood out to me. I'm the game, it looks as good as it always does no matter what.
Yeah, it's very there's a consistency, right, that the series finally has, and it's crazy that it took them up until Yakuza 6 to really master that look, you know what I mean?
Yes. And another thing I noticed is there is no more just straight up text dialogue. You surprisingly get to hear everything voiced. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I actually talked to the localization producer about this, and he said that they're not sure if this is going to be what's going to be the standard moving forward. For example, I think he told me that Yakuza Kiwami 2 actually doesn't have that at all. So it's because it's more closer to 2 than anything else. So
right, it is a remake after all.
Yeah. But that being said, I don't know if Shin Yakuza, which is, I guess, the current working title for the next Yakuza game, is gonna have that, or if Yakuza Online is gonna have that. Who knows? So, but right. For now, I mean, it is really nice, right? When I first encountered my first NPC, my first quest NPC, I was like, wow, you're fully voiced. And it's funny because I was talking to another person who was reviewing the game, and they didn't even notice. And I'm like, you're reviewing the game. You didn't notice that there's freaking voice acting for the side quest characters? That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to with Yakuza 6, it feels to me that a lot of it is immersion, right? They want to make sure that everything is very smooth, everything is very seamless. In fact, it being so smooth and seamless is actually jarring to me because I'm so used to how the series has been up to this point. So whenever I walk into a restaurant in the demo, it just freaks me out because I'm like, there's no loading screen. I just walk the fuck in, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. That's crazy, right? Like, and
yes.
how do you feel about that in general? Like, do you think that this is a good change for the series to actually have these, seamless transitions and stuff? Or
so far, I've only seen it as a positive. Like, I mean, I mentioned it was jarring, but that's strictly only in the sense that I've been playing the Yakuza games since literally the first game on the PS2. So I'm just used to the series being a certain way. So it's only jarring for me in that respect. But like, as a new feature, it is undoubtedly a good one, and I haven't seen anything so far to like imply otherwise.
Yeah. So like, to even thinking about this even further, and I hate kind of bringing up Kiwami too, but fortunately they brought it up that it is coming in August, right? And that's isn't that it's crazy, right? But I to me, like, I knew that all the Yakuza games were going to come out. Like, whether Fist of the North Star is going to arrive here, I feel like that's still debatable.
That's a little more gray. Up in the air.
Yeah. But, Kiwami 2, I haven't seen footage of it, but since that's using the 6 engine, I mean, imagine the seamless transitions between the outdoors and the indoors in that one, because that'll kind of really make Yakuza 2 feel different. Like,
especially since in Yakuza 2 you go to Sotenbori.
Yeah.
Which was the second main city that you go to in Yakuza 0.
Yeah, for sure. That's so. I mean, have you played around with like even the first person view, like in Yakuza 6, or
a little bit? Yeah, and I thought that was pretty neat because Kamurocho feels so different, especially now that like the graphics have been improved and stuff. So I actually did spend some time just walking around in first person. I was just like, holy shit, everything looks so good.
Yeah, right.
But what something, and because of course I'm an RPG nerd, so of course this was something that impressed upon me was the experience system. And I was like, holy crap, this is really cool. So you basically get different types of experience points for different attributes, and you can use those experience points to either raise your stats or combinations of those experience points to learn new moves. And I'm like, yes, I'm all about that shit.
Yeah.
And this is so much more involved, and it seems a lot more in depth than anything we've seen in the series up to this point. So the original 3 games had a very Onimusha-esque leveling system where you pool your experience points into a meter, and that will either increase your health or you'll learn a new move. And it was a very kind of rigid and strict leveling system. It was kind of a product of the time in a sense. But as the series moved forward, they started expanding it little by little. And like in the 4th one, you got this. Every time you leveled up, you got HP and skill points, and you would use the skill points to buy whatever moves you want, giving you a little bit more freedom as to how you went about it. And then finally, in 0, they introduced the skill tree, which allowed even more freedom in how you level up your characters. So I appreciate that in 6 they took it a step further, and so far 6 seems to have my favorite level up system. It seems the most involved, it seems the most in depth, and and of course it's just based on the demo, but like, I think it says a lot that it's already impressed upon me so much that it's such a well made leveling up system that I'm already going like, it's the best fucking one.
Yeah. When I was talking to a few friends about the leveling system and stuff, that was actually the biggest thing that I was really excited about. In fact, if you guys listen to all the way back to a year ago or so, of the Backlog Battle podcast, which you can listen to at mybacklogbattle.tv, I actually talked about this experience point system very early on, because when I heard about it, I was so impressed, because really, like, you go to the gym and you basically can choose like which experience pools to build up and stuff, to increase and all that stuff, or you have to watch the kind of food that you're eating and stuff to kind of basically like make sure that the gym people won't get pissed off and stuff. Like, it's kind of crazy. There's this weird meta that happens. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty intense. In fact, I think the gym section is available in the demo, so that's something, if you want to revisit it for some reason, you totally could.
I could, but I'm gonna be a good boy and I'm gonna wait for the full game.
Okay. So I know we're spending a lot of time with Yakuza 6, especially since
there's nothing wrong with that.
Since I'm gonna be releasing a review sometime soon. I'm not gonna give you guys a release date, and you'll just see it on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/mybacklogbattle. Whew, shill day today.
Shilling that shit.
Yakuza 6 does do something differently compared to 0, like notably, and Kiwami as well, which is the reversal of, like the way that they have Kiryu's like fighting styles and stuff, like
how like
they have like different styles in Kiwami and 0. How do you feel about that now that they kind of collapsed it all again into just kind of really like one style, and then kind of like a pseudo style or something like that?
So basically, yeah, in the series up to like Yakuza 5, each character that you play as strictly only has one fighting style. And one of the things that makes Yakuza 0 and Kiwami so much fun is that even though you play as less characters in those compared to 4 and 5, they compensated by allowing you to have multiple fighting styles at once, which I prefer. I'd rather have like one character with a lot of moves than play as a bunch of different characters with their own moves. That's more of a personal preference, of course, but I like that they went in that direction in 0 and Kiwami. However, in Yakuza 6, it seemed that they've gone back to having one fighting style only. And in Yakuza 6, you don't play as anyone else other than Kiryu. So I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, because it seemed fun enough in the demo, but my guttural reaction is I'm lamenting the loss of the other fighting styles, because I thought that was one of the things that made 0 so much fun. 0 and Kiwami was being able to switch to the rush style if I really needed to, be fast, or to switch to beast mode when I saw a giant motorcycle and I could just like pound the shit out of someone with it, And not having that in 6 immediately makes me feel less versatile, and I don't feel quite as adept by comparison. Now, of course, I would imagine as you level Kiryu up and he starts learning moves again, he's going to feel more powerful again. He's going to feel more adept. But at the same time, I can't say for sure, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be on that same level as 0 because of the lack of the different fighting styles.
It's interesting you keep bringing up 0, because in a recent kind of gallery opening for Yakuza 6 in Los Angeles, one of the things that was asked of the development team is whether they would consider making a Yakuza 0-2 or something ridiculous like that, right? And it's weird because like their answer was simply that Yakuza 0 is their favorite in the franchise as well, and they look fondly at it, from time to time, but there's nothing certain that they want to do in that vein in that time period, because of course, how are they going to pull that off? Like, I feel like the Yakuza series at this point has had so many retcons and like fast forward stuff that it's almost as ridiculously convoluted as A, the Castlevania series, and B, the Metal Gear series, It's kind of silly at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go down to brass tacks, I mean, isn't it kind of astronomically ridiculous that there are 7 games worth of shit that's happened to Kiryu?
Yeah, and it's funny because in this game, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like saying, like, yeah, actually, mind you, this is like an insider friend, and he's like, yeah, Kiryu is like technically 50 years old in Yakuza 6, and I'm like, really? He doesn't look 50.
Well, they do make a joke about that in the demo where Date sees Kiryu after not having seen him in like 4 years, and he's like, oh, you've aged. And Kiryu's like, yeah, it's finally catching up to me. Not like you can talk, though.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you enjoyed the demo, and I am really anxious to hear your opinions once the game comes out. But
real quick, another thing I really enjoyed about the demo was Kiryu himself, because Kiryu has been kind of the same throughout most of the series. In Zero, he's younger and he's more reckless, but like, you know, for the majority of the series, Kiryu's kind of mellow. But in 6, he is a little more of like a crotchety old man who's like, you know, basically Danny Glover. He's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. And I love it. I love it. He's like, you could see it on his face, just like, especially in the beginning cutscene where that fucking punk comes in and like breaks his glass of whiskey or whatever, and Kiryu is just like, are we really doing this? Are we really doing this? And then like they go outside to fight, and he's like, I'm on a schedule, bitch. Let's get this over with.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's so good.
It totally is. It's great. I wish
it's almost like Kiryu himself is acknowledging the ridiculousness of him having dealt with 7 games worth of trash from other people, and
right?
Just all this, the craziness.
That's kind of like
great.
How I felt too, to be quite honest, in that fight. Like, it's just like, really, like, it's happening again? Come on, you know.
And Kiryu even says, like, when you first get back to Kamurocho, he's like, how is it that I keep ending back up in this damn city? Like, he moved to Okinawa to get away from this place, and he keeps dragging him back.
Yeah, I think it's kind of great because, you know, I think the developers are kind of hyper aware that they have made pretty much, like, a ton of games with this guy, and it's really important for them to kind of really let everything out of their personal thoughts of how Kiryu is over the past 7 years, or several games rather, excuse me. And it's like, it's so crazy that this guy has been around for practically 3 console generations. Can you fucking believe that? That's insane.
Yeah, man. PS2, PS3, PS4.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Kiryu's been around the block.
Yeah, no kidding. And of course, you know, like, can you imagine, like, Yakuza 6 came out, right? And people are like, you know, kind of sad that, you know, this is Kiryu's last game or what have you. And then they announced, just kidding, Kiwami 2 is coming out. It's like, God damn it, people. God damn it. You just can't shut your trap about Kiryu. Now we get another fucking Kiryu game again. So it's like...
Well, to be fair, Yakuza 2 deserves a remake, so...
Yeah.
You can't be too mad. I mean, I'm pretty excited for Kiwami 2.
I'm not that disappointed at all. But, like,
Actually, a friend of mine imported Kiwami 2 because he's a bigger fan of Yakuza than both of us. He's actually imported most of the games because he's nuts. And he says that Kiwami 2's combat is a substantial improvement over Yakuza 6's combat.
I believe that.
So we have some good stuff to look forward to.
I'm trying to be very even-keeled about how I talk about Yakuza 6 on the show because, again, it's not like I am on embargo because obviously other people's reviews are already out and stuff, but I do want to kind of save a lot of my personal opinions into the video that I'm going to be making. And, you know,
of course.
It's coming really soon. Like, it's not going to take more than a couple of weeks at most. You know, it could even come out like next week, but there's only one way that you can make sure to, to see it, and that is if you subscribe to the Backlog Battle channel, which is youtube.com/mybacklogbattle. I also have a video there that actually talks about something that you noticed as well. Like, I saw your comment on this video where Sunshine Orphanage's name actually got renamed in Yakuza 6.
Yeah. To Morning Glory, which...
Yeah.
I mean, there's something you could say about that, but we're classier than that.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you guys want to learn all about that, and of course, I'm going to be covering Yakuza Kiwami 2 and possibly actually have like a couple of video ideas for Yakuza. If you're just a Yakuza fan, you should just subscribe to the channel and check it out, because there's more coming, trust me. Like, I have another project that is super exciting. I think I told you about it in chat, and it's going to be really crazy to think. I just did this. I just started doing this research right now, and recording gameplay, and it's shocking me because I hadn't played some of the Yakuza games, like in the PS2, for example, since I got them, like 10 years ago or something like that.
Same.
So going back to that and seeing how it contrasts with the modern games, like that's something that I'm looking into. So just think of that, like, for a second, like what that implies. It's gonna be pretty exciting, I think.